Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? How's life in your world? Please let me know in the comments how things are going for you. Things here are going well. I had a very productive weekend of working down here. I got the face frames completely glued up on the cabinets. I got drawers made, 6 drawers. They're not perfect, but they're drawers, so not important. These drawers ended up being about 8 inches wide by 21 inches long or so. Half-inch pine construction. There's biscuits in the fronts here. These aren't going to be carrying. They don't have to be amazing. The whole desk is plywood anyway, so I didn't feel the need to do any kind of like crazy joinery. So I just used some number 0 biscuits. Since this is half-inch plywood, put all these together. They all work great. I just got a big roll of birch edge banding. I'm going to edge band these so they look nice. I've never used edge banding before, so I ordered 250 feet of it. But we're going to edge band these, and then the next step is painting and making the face frame, or making the faces for the drawers and the top. And they can all go together. Actually, the next step, that's a lie. I had a happy little accident. The drawer slides that I used are Amazon Basics drawer slides. They're like the European style, you can see it here, European style 2-roller stamped steel slides. They're not full extension drawer slides. They're nothing fancy. But for this purpose, they're perfect. I have these all throughout my kitchen, and I like them a lot. They don't need to be anything. I don't need roller bearings and all that stuff. They're not carrying a ton of weight. If they were carrying a lot of weight, then I'd be more concerned about the bearings. But this is half-inch plywood. At most, there's going to be some art supplies in here, so maybe one of these drawers will get a little heavy. Not too bad. But, so, because the face frame of the cabinet is wider than the 3/4 inch plywood, I had to make some spacers behind each runner, or whatever they're called. And so a 3/4 inch piece fit perfectly. And as I was looking at these, I just kind of arbitrarily, measured them and said, I'll cut the pieces to 1.5 inches. Not thinking that that would be super beneficial to me in the near future. So as I was laying these out, I figured out I wanted them to be about 1/8 inch up off of the face frame. That way when you pull the drawer out, you get about a 1/4 inch clearance. So I set the bottom one in place, and then I was trying to figure out the math for the next 2 up, like how do I set this next one up 1/8 inch, measuring it. And then I stopped and thought and realized I had made spacers when I made my face frames. And this, I think I mentioned before that this was kind of a neat, unique thing that I did that I'm excited to show you. But I used these when I was gluing up my face frames to set each of the runners in place perfectly. So I clamped my face frames together with these. And because the face frame was 1.5 inches, and I made those spacer blocks 1.5 inches, these worked perfectly for spacing each rail. And it worked out great. The problem is that on the cabinet that you can see here, the one side on the bottom, I did my spacing off the bottom, wasn't perfect. And so all 3 of the right-hand side drawer guides are too low. So what I'm going to have to do before I can call this finished is take all of these drawer slides off. I mounted this with just screws, so but the screws go through the drawer slide and through the 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch plywood. So what I'm going to have to do is take all of those screws out, and then I'm going to screw the plywood itself to the outside of the cabinet, and then I'll come back and raise my drawer slides on that 1/8 of an inch to get everything equal, so that my drawers don't rock, because that would be super annoying. The big concern is they sit crooked when they're in there now. So not only is it, I think what ends up happening is the front is a little lower than the back, so I really just need to kind of take the one screw out and lift the front, but I can't do that because I screwed through the slides. I'll fix it. It's all going to get glued back together, and then I'll adjust each slide individually until I get them right. Because my concern is if I add the weight of the door front, it might sag, and then it throws off everything, and it's going to look stupid. So I have to fix that. But I got all that done. I got that done. I got the yard cut. Got to go to a softball game for Keeley. It was a really big weekend. And a lot of work got done, and I'm really proud of it. I think this desk is going to turn out to be really, really nice. And not super expensive. I ended up using a sheet and a half, like a sheet and a quarter of 3/4 inch plywood. And I could have fit it on a full sheet if I hadn't messed up. So basically 1 sheet of 3/4 inch plywood, all the drawers fit on 1 sheet of 1/2 inch plywood, and that's it. So 2 sheets of plywood is about $90 with and then biscuits and screws, and then the cherry was about $60. So for about $150 I'm gonna have maybe $160 after you factor in hardware and feet and all that stuff. I'm gonna have a very solid desk that's not gonna go anywhere, and it's gonna look nice. It's gonna be our design, her design, my girlfriend's design. I built it. It's 3/4 inch all the way through. Even the back of these cabinets are 3/4 inch. So it's super heavy. It's a little bit ridiculous actually, but it'll be all made by me. And then when I finish these up, I have the plywood to start on the next project, which is a matching dresser. So I'm just gonna roll right into that as soon as this is done. Especially since I have things like the spacers already cut. I have all the stuff laid up to do. Cut the biscuits for the joinery, all that stuff is fresh in my mind, so I will go back and do the dresser. And I might film it, I might not. That'll probably, because I filmed this, it's basically the same thing except 3 feet wide instead of 12 inches wide per cabinet, so I might not film it, I don't know. We'll see. Depends on how this video does, if I ever get it done. I filmed all of this though so far, so hopefully I'll cut a video together eventually. And maybe I'll put plans together. I don't know. I don't think that when I started this channel, I thought that I would do more woodworking, but I don't like how the camera gets in my way. I don't mind this. I really don't mind this at all. I don't mind talking to you. I don't mind sharing opinions with you. I don't mind reviewing things for you. I don't mind telling you about my life and what's going on. But when I have to film and while I work and try to figure out a way to edit all that together, it gets in the way and I don't like it. I would rather just build stuff. I like just building stuff. So, we'll see how the video does. If the video does exceptionally well, like this workbench, this stupid little miter saw station that I have over here, this did really well. This has like, I don't know, 60,000 views or something. It's just 2x4 screwed together. And so if more of my videos took off like that, then maybe I would be more inclined to do more of the woodworking stuff, especially since I have somebody here who's willing to help. She helped me cut out all the plywood for these boxes and stuff because I had to basically rip a full-length sheet of plywood. So I have a helper, and she would be more than willing to do the camera work, but I don't know. It just gets in the way. And since this is a big project, that I'm doing in my spare time, I still have a day job. I have a company on top of that I'm running, and then to try to come down here and spend a couple hours a day doing this. This isn't my second job. This isn't even my third job. This is more like my 5th job. So I don't have the time to dedicate to making something like this every week and putting out a video like most of the big woodworking channels do. But we'll get a video. It'll be done. Eventually. So, that's all I have for you right now. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with me and sharing my videos on your favorite platforms. Thank you for posting that video last week on the Board Game Geek. I did not get to do more reviews this weekend. I will be doing them probably this week. I'm going to pepper them in like I did the first one, and then eventually I'll start making that its own thing. So, that's the plan. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, being wonderful people. I appreciate you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Taser in fact comes from ctsstatelibrary.org. When did the new year change from March to January? December 31st, 1st, 1751 was followed by January 1st, 1752. The switch from March 25th to January 1st is the first day of the year. September 2nd, 1952 was followed by, or 1752 was followed by September 14th, 1752, a drop of 11 days to conform to the Gregorian calendar.